Well, today's episode is going to be an exciting one. We're going to be reviewing some recent events from last month, starting with Circle 6 with Everything You Couldn't Be that took place on the 22nd of October. And then, of course, we got the latest GCW event, Hit 'em Up, that went back to the Ukrainian Culture Center for Hit 'em Up on the 30th. And then finally, the latest GLEAT show that took place on that very particular day, G Pro Wrestling version 37. Of course, the G Infinity titles were vacant due to the fact that Tamara was hurt and he could not compete to defend those titles. And then finally, AEW Dynamite in Baltimore, where we have a couple of title matches taking place. And also, we cannot forget some news updates to share what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay Radier. So, let's begin with Circle 6. We have Everything You Could Have Been, Couldn't Be, that took place on the 22nd of October. This one goes straight to Houston, the same arena where GCW does events, so does New Texas Pro Wrestling, and a few others. It opened up with Aaron Sykes versus Vincent Nothing. Now, Vincent Nothing in this particular match, he is on a rampage. He's pissed off that the fact is that he felt he should have been the one challenging for the Circle 6 World Championship that right now Kevin Giza has. So basically he's pissed, but he won the match when he knocked him out. However, he decided to continue to beat Sykes up, trying to make him pretend that he's Giza, but the ref had enough and made the right call by reversing the decision that Sykes won. But nothing, he's out of control. He feels that his opportunity was taken from him. Next match, we got Lucky Ali versus Cody Lane. Now, Lucky Ali did not want to be here because he felt that he's dealing with a comedian. Now, Cody Lane may be a comedian, but he's not someone you don't want to underestimate. I mean, several wrestlers have underestimated him in the past. I can go through the list, but I'm not. But however, it was Cody Lane with an underhook pile driver that ended the match 1, 2, 3. Cody Lane with the W. Next match, we got Ace Perry versus Treehouse Lee. I thought this match was pretty interesting. I didn't know where it's going to go, but it was Ace Perry with a powerful DDT that sealed the deal for him to get the W. Our next match, we have Vert Vixen versus, of course, Jody Threat. Awesome match. I think it was a pretty good one. There was a lot of good moments in this match, but it was Jody Threat with the F5 that allowed her to win the match by defeating Vert Vixen. Now, our next match, we have, of course, Chris Carter versus Jake Chris. I thought this match was amazing. There were some great moments, like the resilience of Chris Carter. Uh, I just didn't expect it. But the one thing that brought me back some old memories, if you guys remember years ago, Evan Bourne, also known as Matt Sydal, he did a shooting star press when Randy Orton applied the RKO. Now, in this particular match, it was something similar, but the only difference, instead of an RKO, it was the Jake Chris with his signature, the lights out, that knocked out Carter out, giving him the win. But in post match, all of a sudden, um, Ace Perry and Dale Patrick attacked um, Jay Chris out of nowhere. Nobody knows why he did it, but it did. Now our next match is a death match. We have what's his name? Eric Ryan versus Aaron Aeroboy. Another good match that you probably would enjoy. But the match ended by ref's decision, knowing that Aeroboy was already out of it. Like there was no movement from, so it was the right call. Now our next match is the Circle 6 World Title. We have, of course, Kevin Giza, who won this opportunity, takes on Atticus Coker. Much of this match, you can say, Atticus Coker had everything under his control. But something strange has happened. As you know, Atticus has been trying to get answers from RSP for a while since he turned on him. So his music hits, he doesn't come out. But all of a sudden, Vincent Nothing shows up and attacks Kevin Giza, resulting in a disqualification. Now, Giza won the match, but Atticus Cogan retained the top. But as you know, Vincent thought that maybe he'd be pleased that he takes out Kevin Giza, but Atticus Cogar is the kind of guy who says, I don't need your help. This is my mess. So he felt that he had this match won, but the obvious question is, was Vincent Nothing in cahoots with RSP? We don't know. I know that Vincent Nothing would do anything to get a shot of the world title that Atticus Cogar shows up. And I think that kind of sets the tone. But the thing is, we don't know what RSP is doing. I wouldn't be surprised in the next Circle 6 event that leads to that. But we'll find out when the day comes. But I think right now we should end it right here and move on with GCW. Hit 'em up. Okay, GCW Hit 'em up. This took place on the 30th of October. It opened up with the steel cage. Now, originally we were supposed to have a tag team match between Starboy Charlie and Joey Janela to take on the Pacific Savages or whatever they call themselves, Juicy Finau and Jacob Fatu. But however, because of the situation, Jacob Fatu already had a commitment with House of Glory. He double booked himself. So he wanted to honor that, and of course, I did put that Brett Lauderdale decided to let Jacob Fatu honor that agreement that they had. But the match itself, it felt more like Juicy Finau had everything under control. So he basically would have used everything, his powerness, to slam him through the cage or whatever. But Starboy Charlie, he was able to take him down, move out of the way, all that. But the one thing that felt really interesting, Starboy Charlie tried the only way he could have won if he got out of the cage. But however, fans did not like that. So he decided to go back and did a big splash onto Juicy Finau and won the match. So that's a good victory for him. But the obvious question does remain, is this war between him is over with Fatu and Funao? We don't know. We'll see on the next time. Now our next match we have of course is Jordan Oliver taking on Dragon Gate's Yamato. It was a pretty good match. Not to me, I wasn't too much hype, but I was kind of curious. But you probably would have thought, some of you would have expected maybe Jordan Oliver to win, or the other half of you, Yamato. But it was in fact Yamato who picked up the win when he pinned Jordan Oliver. So it was okay. I'm not gonna argue, but yeah. Next up, we got Flip Gordon versus Blake Christian. I thought this match was great. A lot of spots in this particular high spots in this particular match. Two of the most incredible high flyers that we've seen so far. But it was Blake Christian with the springboard 450 splash that sealed the deal to make the win. Now, our next match, we have Los Macizos, Ciclops, Miedo Extremo, taking on the Wolf Zaddies, consisting of Bad Dude Tito and Chi Cabrera. I thought this match was also another good one because this shows, how the Macizos are now becoming household names. These guys have been, since the pandemic, they've been normally defending those titles in Mexico, but now that they're coming back and forth, they're showing that they are true tag team champions. But they were able to apply the the win onto Chi Cabrera when they applied um, a frog splash made by Bieno Extremo, and it was over right from there, and they retained the tag titles. Next up, we have Mike Bailey taking on Willie Mack, who was debuting in this particular match. I was so impressed with this match. It was pretty good. You probably would have assumed that Willie Mack would have had the opportunity to win, but no, it was the ultimate weapon that sealed the deal for Mike Bailey to pick up the W. Now, our next match, we have Ali Catch versus Tail Valkyrie. The match was okay, but something strange happened in some point in the match. A guy who was taped up showed up and gave Ali Catch a pox. We don't know what it is. It was a bloody t-shirt that says Allison, and then she decided to run. So the referee made the choice to say no contest. Now, before I proceed, some of you may ask me, what was that all about? I can think of one good reason. There's only one person I can think of who would send a box like that, and that is that piece of garbage, the root of all evil, Charles Mason. For some reason, we have seen him in the past targeting um, Alec Catch for some odd reasons. So we don't know what it is, but it has happened. We have seen him do that recently in the Atlantic in the showboat shows um, about a month ago. But that would explain it. But we'll see what happens then. Our next match, it's a death match with my boy, a San Diego native. Well, he's originally from Georgia, but he lives here now. Hunter Freeman taking on Jimmy Lloyd. I thought this match was insane. Now, Hunter Freeman, I known him since what? Since 2019, and he's such a good guy. We talked. Uh, Not to mention, for over the last couple of years, I've been noticing how he's been involved with death matches, and I didn't think he was into them, but he did pretty good. But he did pick up a good win against Jimmy Lloyd when he pinned him, and it was 1, 2, 3. It's over. Now our next match we have Team LA Fights, consistent of Jordan Cruz, Rob Shit, Drugs Bunny, and Dom Kubrick taking on the GCW All Stars, Joey Janela, Kevin Blackwood, B Boy, and Titus Alexander. So that kind of goes is a long way in this particular match, and I just had to say it was a pretty good one. Um, B Boy he trained guys like Jordan Cruz. It was very interesting to see that, but I like the combination of Titus Alexander and Joey Janela that pinned Drugs Bunny to pick up the win. Now, our next match, we have, of course, the GCW World Title, Leo Rush versus Nick Gage. Awesome match. You probably would say Nick Gage would have murdered Leo Rush, but Leo Rush, no matter of his size, he will always try to come back and try to outmaneuver anybody. And I think that tells us that he was strong. But however, it was, of course, Nick Gage with the choke breaker that finished off Leo Rush 1, 2, 3. He retained the title. So I thought this match was pretty good, but it was all right. I liked it. It was fine. As for the rest of the show, okay, decent, but yeah. So I think that's pretty much it right now with this. I believe it's time for GLEAT. All right, GLEAT with G Pro Wrestling version 37. This one took place on the 30th as well, but however, this is not uploaded till recently today. Now, it opened up with, of course, members of Bulk Orchestra, Hayato Tamura, and of course, Czech Shibatani, along with their newest friend, Hartley Jackson, who is the current Spirit of Gambari Openweight Champion. And now, as you guys know, that the G Infinity Tag Team titles have been vacant. The reason is I didn't know what it was until I saw the opening. Tamura looks like he got hurt. Now, as you know, there's a sort of lengthy amount of time when it comes to defending championships in Japan. So basically, that's probably the reason. So right now, the opening match, we have Hartley Jackson with Shimatani will be taking on members of 60 Seconds, Kishi Sato and Tetsuya Izushi. This is one of those matches, of course, where right now we're seeing a different combination with. Now, recently we have seen 60 Seconds have gained momentum on certain opportunities, but we have seen, as you know, they gain a new member. They're now getting more recognizable than they normally see. But however, it was of course Jackson with the pile driver onto Sato. Excuse me. That finished off the deal and gave himself and Czech the win. Our next match is UWF rules. We have the Yoshis take the stage. We have Maya Fukuda versus, of course, Michiko Miyagi, who is the top girl in GLEAT. However, this match ended real quickly, like in 1 minute and 30 something seconds, with a single leg Boston Crab submission. And Maya Fukuda is not happy. Like, she can't even believe she lost again. Now, keep in mind it takes time because Michiko does have the more experience than her, but we'll see what happens then. Next up, we got tag team action. We have Soma Watanabe teaming up with Minoru Tanaka to take on Takanori Ito and Noriyuki Yoshida. This match was also pretty interesting, but it ended with a amazing kick to the chest by Yoshida onto Watanabe, giving, of course, them the win that they need. Next up, we got Jun Toncho, a member of 60 Seconds, take on Kaito Ishida. As you know, Ishida has been an absolute terror since arriving. No, normally it seems like he's mostly been targeting members of 60 Seconds. I don't know what's the purpose of his this, but he did beat John Toncho with the German suplex, the same move that he did on the leader Tetsuya Izushi. But in post match, however, Izushi comes out to confront him. As you know, this could be a long-standing feud between Izushi and Ishida. So we'll see what happens then. Next up, we got members of Strong Arts, consistent of Issei Onizuka and El Lindaman taking on Masato Kamino along with Takanori Ito. Yes, he's wrestling again, which is odd. The match was pretty good. I thought this match was really a hard hitting type match. But however, once again, Ito proves his superiority once again with the German suplex onto Onizuka to give the win. Now our main event is the vacant G Infinity Tag Team titles. We have members of Strong Hearts consisted of Shiga Irihiri and T-Hawk to take on Shima and Kaz Hayashi. I thought this match was pretty good because it was the perfect um, match to see who is going to be the ones to carry this match. But however, it was T Hawk that picked up the victory onto to what? Uh, onto Shima to give the win. Now, I knew from the moment that Strong Hearts won these titles that there'll be opponents coming for the opportunity. We had, of course, members from both Orchestra, Czech and Tamara, and then, of course, Ishida came around. And so this, what's his name? Ito and Kamino comes out. So basically, the target has now been set. However, the administrator in the championship belts, Masato Yoshino, comes out to try to address the situation. I don't know what he said, but I'm sure that they're going to resolve this as possible. I don't know if there's going to be either a number one's contendership or possibly a three-way for these titles. We don't know. So we'll just have to wait and see when that day comes. Oh, excuse me. So I think that's pretty much it right now, what we have. So let's move on to our final review, AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite opened up with Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal. Now this is more of a revenge match over the loss that Jay Lethal had with Darby Allin in the past. But recently, in recent weeks, we have seen where Jay Lethal said that he knows Darby Allin's weakness. Now we don't know who said that, so that kind of puts it to date. And not to mention, during the entire match, we did see those imbeciles, Satnam Singh and Sanjay Dutt, show up. But I like to say there was a good moment. I have to say Darby Allin played a smart play. I don't know if people caught on to it, and I don't think the commentators did. Darby Allin went charging straight towards Satnam Singh. Now, he didn't have to do anything, but their presence was the ones that caused the referee to throw them out, and that was a smart move. But however, when that was taking place, people thought it was Sting showed up and attacked them, costing Darby Allin the match when Lethal applied the lethal injection to win the match. We didn't know who that was. But of course, in the post match, it was revealed to be Cold Carter. I'm like, what the hell? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was Cold Carter with the factory? It made no absolute sense. So I'm like trying to find out, okay, is he with the factory or not? I just don't know. That's another story I don't know. And then all of a sudden we hear the Sting theme comes out, and then out of the blue we see Jeff Jarrett shows up and whacks Darby Allin. He goes out in a promo saying that he's declaring war against AEW because he believes everybody in the locker room, including the audience, are stupid. Because he claims that he's the true pinnacle of the pro wrestling because his fingerprints are all over because of his family, all that. Now, behind the scenes, Jeff Jarrett has been now signed as an All Elite. I forgot what he was initially there for. Let me look it up real quick. Let's see. Well, I don't know what it was, but he got a some sort of position with hold on, let me look at Tony Khan's Twitter page. I think he has yeah. Here it is. He is now the new AEW Director of Business and Development. So that's his job behind the scenes now with AEW. So as you know, recently he did work with WWE and he left for some reason. I forgot what it was, but yeah. So now we know. Now our next match is a AEW World Title Eliminator. We have Jon Moxley taking on Lee Moriarty. And Ethan Page was out there by the commentators claiming that Lee Moriarty will stomp Jon Moxley. But however, uh, one thing is clear is that their motives is now that MJF is home watching this, they're determined to believe. Ethan Page doesn't think that MJF will be 100% till Full Gear. He is determined to take that title away from Jon Moxley or try to prevent MJF from ever winning. But Moxley does not know the word quit. So he did the Fujikatami onto Lee Moriarty to pick up the win. But once again, he shows up to show his superior, saying that he is the one who's going to dethrone Moxley. But sooner or later, Moxley will get a little payback on Ethan Page. Now, initially, we were supposed to have an interview with Renee Paquette along with Britt Baker and Saraya. Now, however, Britt didn't decide to show up. It just shows one thing. Saraya said that, Britt, it's always about her. Like, she says that she runs the division, but she makes it more about her, and that's all thing. But later on, we did see Britt Baker having her own little interview with Tony Schiavone. She is saying once again the conspiracies are out there again. So she's asking for a match, for a tag match. But later it was later revealed that they will be in Rampage to take on Madison Rayne and Sky Blue. Now, We do get a little birthday surprise, birthday celebration with Daddy Ass Billy Gunn, as you know. The Acclaim, decided to give him a happy birthday. They gave him some cool stuff, including Dad of the Year, the greatest dad ever. I think that's what they call it. And of course, the Acclaim are officially adopted by Billy Gunn. I was like, wow, that is pretty cool. I have to say, it was a real fun promo right on the ring. However, the Guns show up and upset that they did not were invited to celebrate their birthday, but it just shows that Billy is siding with the Acclaim since they were there for him. But all of his son, W. Morrissey, shows up and decides to give them a real beatdown. But luckily, the FTR, who has issues towards the Gun Club, it kind of, they ran like cowards. They don't want to deal with them because they believe FTR had their chances and it's time for them to step up. Now, let's see what else I got. Okay, so of course now we got the Ring of Honor World Title, Chris Jericho. Now we don't know who will answer the open challenge, and it turned out to be boom boom Colt Cabana, boom boom. So yes, Colt Cabana responded to the call, and I thought the match was pretty well. But however, what I did like is how Jericho was a bit worried, knowing that he's not dealing with an amateur. He's dealing with a guy who's been there. But this guy's a two-time World Tag Team Champion. So it was pretty good how right now you look in the eyes of Colt Cabana feeling like, Jericho, you disgraced and pillaged the honor of Ring of Honor. And of course, we saw Hager and Garcia being there, and they could have, Colt Cabana could have won, but it didn't. But it was, of course, the code breaker that allowed him to retain the title. Now, in post match, once again, Jericho, he's on a mission. Once again, he decided to grab Ian Riccaboni because he has some unfinished business. But luckily, the Blackpool Combat Club, most consistent of Claudio Castagnoli, Yuri Yuta, and Daniel Garcia, just started brawling with everyone. These guys are not backing down. So it looks like Blackpool Combat Club are on war the with the Jericho Appreciation Society. So that's going to be interesting. Now, before our next match, this one is part of the AEW All Atlantic Championship. The Death Triangle had an interview with Renee. Ray Phoenix feels comfortable knowing that he could walk in and walk out as the double champion. But however, Pac, once again with the bell hammer, is in play. Now, I know Ray Phoenix doesn't feel like too compelled to use it in any way possible. Now, our next match, we do see. Now, for our match, we have Luchasaurus, Ray Phoenix, and Orange Cassidy. All in. Thought the match was pretty well, but one thing it was so fun is what happened is Luchasaurus was nowhere to be found. Jungle Boy took care of him. Damn. And I thought basically Christian thought it was over, but nope, it will never be over as long as Christian Cage thinks he, um, you know, had everything under control. But I have to say it was, but what I did like is how Orange and Ray Phoenix were able to make it a good spectacular with just the two of them. But one thing I did like is Orange did a spectacular orange punch right in midair, and boom, he retained the title. And then all of a sudden, Pac shows up, who has no love lost for for Orange Cassidy. However, out of the blue, we just saw Katsuyori Shibata. We don't know what was going on, and it was strange. Now, we know the last time he showed up, it was when, of course, he helped Orange Cassidy at the Forbidden Door when he was in a match against Will Ospreay. And of course, that's the last time we saw them. But in the initial, what happened, he actually took a shot. He looks at the title, and there's this thing called the open contract for whoever's going a dream, like an all Atlantic dream match that could happen in Rampage. So Orange Cassidy had Shibata sign, and there's going to be an open challenge for that on Rampage. So this is going to be a very interesting. Now, I know some people are very not critical, but more concerns. As you know, Shibata doesn't wrestle that much due to the injury he obtained a couple years back. So that we know of. But also was revealed that Shibata was in talks with, I don't know, with Tony Khan or whoever in AEW, that he said that he would like to have a match with Orange Cassidy and Bryan Danielson. So I'm like, that's a good thing. So I'm looking forward to that to see what really is going to be. Now, right now, in this moment, we do see that one match will happen, but the other is still determined. Now, we do see in the background for the interview we had with Tony Schiavone, we had Swerve with the big boss, Rick Ross, who was there. And then, of course, Keith Lee. Now, keep in mind, Keith Lee is still dealing with the situation, what happened last week. So basically, it's like he's conflicted. But we do know he and Swerve are the current number one contenders for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Now, we have the TBS Championship on the line, but Jay does not have the belt. So she faces the associate of Nyla Rose, um, Marina Shafir. But what it was so great, Vicky Guerrero and Nyla were doing commentary right in front of her face. I just thought that was classic because they were trying to push her buttons. Now Jade tried everything to ignore that, but there was a moment she could have lost the match by countout. But however, Jade Cargill finished off Marina Shafir with the Jaded. Now, when you thought things that Jade could have had her belt back at any time, Kiera Hogan shows up, tried to get it back, but it slipped through her fingers. So I thought that was classic. So I don't know. All right, now as you know, we talked about the House of Black. Apparently, they just set up a very interesting vignette, like this very dark. I don't know. It felt more like a resurrection of the House of Black. We know that Malachi took some time off to deal with some issues of himself. Buddy Matthews had to take care of the situation with his visa work. I don't know what Brody King was doing, but I have to say this is a pretty good vignette. I like it. So we'll just gotta wait and see. But there's no telling when these people will come back. I'm sure they're gonna throw in a big bang when they do. Now, our main event, we have the ROH World Television title. Brian Cage of the Embassy, along with that Weasel, Prince Nana, to take on Samoa Joe. I thought this match was pretty good. It's just two strong men. This is where, of course, we know they can put on a good show, and I think that's what is great about them. But however, it was the chokehold by Samoa Joe that ended right there that allowed him to win the match. Now, when we thought the match was over, Gates of Agony, Bishop Khan, and Tao Leona of the Gates of Agony, members also of the Embassy, decided to give Joe a beatdown, and here comes Wardlow to the helping hand. Now, when we thought that was done, it wasn't. Powerhouse House shows up and spinebuster Wardlow. And of course, we know that Powerhouse Hobbs, he's targeting the TNT title. So that's what we've been seeing. So we'll see what happens on Friday for Rampage, and we will see what's going to take place next week. As you know, we're getting to Full Gear, so we'll talk more about that at another time. So right now, let's move on to our lasting news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. So let's get started. For the GCW updates, Sawyer Wreck was announced that will be participating on the December 3rd Wasted Time and December 4th, one afternoon only with GCW, which will take place very soon, within a month. Also, they announced for the upcoming event, as you know, we just had their latest show in LA, the America's Most Wanted. Hit 'em up. Their new show will be in December 16th, and the America's Most Wanted. So thought it was a pretty good name, and they just announced that they signed Pagano to make an appearance there. And then finally, more information. As you know, the double header of New Year's Eve weekend has now been named. Uh, the December 31st one, which will start at 8 p.m., will call Till Infinity, but the following day, on New Year's Day, that will start at 5 p.m., will be called 56 Nights. So basically, they already are making big plans for the remainder of the year, and hopefully things will go out. Now, we don't know much about who else will be involved in the America's Most Wanted event or the New Year's doubleheader. So I will stay on top of those much as possible, and we'll see what happens then. Now, as you know, I mentioned on the Unagi Watch, Sendai Girls will the Unagi made an appearance at Sendai Girls at their dojo, and now it's been confirmed that there will be a a match taking place. It's going to be Team 200 kilogram Yu and Hashimoto to take on Unagi and X. Now, I did talk about this before. There are those that say that there was this guy that says that maybe Mina could be the next possible X. Another person made another interesting point. What if it's Saki? I know that Unagi has always desired to team up with Saki for a long time. I think that's a good choice as well. Keep in mind, Saki, on the other hand, is a freelancer, and Colors are in fact allies of Cosmic Angels. So I would be surprised if that's the case, because I know that sometimes Saki and is in a bit awe with Unagi with her behavior, not to mention, but we'll see about that. I wouldn't be surprised either if Unagi decides to appear in Colors events, but we'll find out. Hopefully soon we'll find out who Unagi's partner will be. So the possibilities could be either, to me, Yunamanaze or Saki, one of the two. So we'll find out soon enough. Now, as you know, recently there was a special committee that was investigating the allegations of money that was missing by WWE. Apparently, they announced that a lot of $19.4 million was not accounted for and all that stuff. However, the committee now has been disbanded now that the investigation is completed. But there are people questioning, would this mean that Vince McMahon will return? Well, they made it clear that it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Um, because, as you know, WWE are doing better now than they ever were before under now Triple H's helm. So we'll see what happens then. But I'm not sure if Vince will be back, but we'll see what happens. But I will just hope things stay right now where they're at this point. That's what I'm hoping for. So let's see what happens. So I think that's pretty much it. Let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have Impact Wrestling, and of course, I just recently found out we got Battle Atom taking place. I'm looking forward to that too. Don't know yet what I'm going to do before that, but I'll just stick what I have right now. So from now, let's just move forward from that. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah, and have a nice day. Bang.